Okay, so this is the 5-3-2 custom tactics. The most important player, arguably, is this player over here, because this is going to be the player that's going to be going up and down the pitch the entire time. Now, thanks for those that gave me feedback to improve this formation for the average player, a player like yourself. How can we make this formation more effective? Now, this player is so important. It's because this player is going to be going up and down most of the time. So ideally, you'd want someone here who's got attacking fullback plus, someone who's got that ability to go up and down. Don't forget, with the plus variation, so you can see, for example, on the opposite side of Mendy, he's got the regular fullback. You want to get better at FC25 now. Before you skip ahead, what if I told you if you don't get better after 1 month, I'll refund your money? That's the nil guys guarantee. We got in-depth tutorials that are not even on the YouTube channel. We show you the theory of something, and we show you gameplay examples in a structured format. We also go over real-life football examples that apply to the game and exclusive pro gameplay analysis, full gameplay analysis to elevate your game. We teach you everything from the basics to the meta. Come join at patreon.com/nilguys. Links down below in the description. If you don't get better after 1 month, we'll refund your money. That's the nil guys guarantee. Links down below in the description. But a plus, think of it like the old role system, okay? So the old role system in terms of work rates I'm referring to. So if a player is plus, you can argue when you have the ball, they're going to fly forward. But when you lose the ball equally, they're going to get back into position as fast as possible. That is why the plus is extremely important. So whatever player you use here, you need to make sure both your left back and right back have a plus. I have tried it without the regular role or just like a Kadioglu here. It still works, but it's not as effective. It's a lot more manual movement. You'll notice yourself, you got to move that play in position. So basically what it is you defend in a 5-3-2. Now this is also important. They talked about how 5 backs are nerfed. Now I'll tell you a secret. Had 5 backs not been nerfed on the pro scene, all the pros will still be using the 5 back in the Arsenal. It's actually a very good formation. You just don't hear about it because the pro players don't use it, but it's been effective since day one. They can't use it on the professional scene. They're actually banned from using 5 backs. Now, effectively before, you could argue the back 3, they kind of split up a little bit and it made it a bit difficult to defend. But I'll be honest, I think when you're in that back 5, I think it's actually a bit more of a safer formation compared to other formations like a 4-4-2. The only other benefit you do have is you have a CDM here. Unlike the 5-2-1-2 counterpart, where the 5-2-1-2 is something like this, and let's say that's a cam over here, you have no CDMs. But the benefit of having this CDM is that you have that defensive stability. So that is why we put one of the wing backs on the right-hand side on the attacking wing back, and one of them on just a wing back balanced. So the idea is one side is going to be more attacking. So in this case, we got Kadioglu on the side that's more attacking, and one side is going to be more defensive. The entire back line is all defend, nothing funky there. In terms of the CDM, we left him on holding, defend. Perfect. I think it's always there in the right place at the right time. I like them because they always stand still. Sometimes with deep line playmaker, they drop too far to the defensive line, and sometimes I feel there's too much of a great gap between the entire center mids and the CDM. So I personally like it on holding because they stay in position and they stay there. That's what's very, very important. I got holding and defend, and that's the key benefit. That's what makes this formation more stable. Yes, if you want to, you could even consider going with something like a wide half. So something else that I wanted to experiment with is you have a player basically covering for the right back going forward, but maybe we'll go into that in tomorrow's video where we go through the entire setup and including a center half where you basically make a back 4 and you attack with 2 center mids, 2 strikers, and of course 2 wing backs. But we'll go into that tomorrow. So for now, we'll leave on holding. The left center mid, we have them on attacking playmaker. So basically, because the left-hand side, you have a wing back. So the attacking wing back will be forward. Think of it like almost a right wing when you have the ball. Sometimes they're going beyond where right mid would normally traditionally would go. But on the left-hand side, as you can see over here, it's a wing back. So they're not going to go all the way. They're going to be a bit more conservative. That's the difference. So the difference between a left back is they still go forward, but they have the license to come back and defend when they need. Whereas attacking wing back, I would say, is more attack heavy, and they rarely come back. When you lose the ball, they're not going to be coming back as much. Hence why I said you do need the plus. So this is what I'm saying, this formation is perfect, because if you like to use the wing play, but you want to keep 2 strikers. A lot of you saying, I like the 4-4-2, but you know what, Neil? I don't want to get rid of, I want 2 strikers up there. Then this could be a good setup for you. And that's the reason why we've gone with a playmaker on the left centre mid side, is because the wing back here, you don't need that much coverage on this side. This player's going to come back and defend. And when you do defend, you're going to have basically a makeshift back 4. On the right-hand side, we have the right centre mid Valverde on holding. So the idea behind him is that he's there. So that way, if you do lose the ball, at least, for example, you have the right centre mid that's able to run back manually and cover for that space. So that is the exact reason why we put holding on the right-hand side. And for the strikers, we've gone with advanced forward. You can go with advanced forward on both, but personally, I like advanced forward and poacher. The reason why is with advanced forward, one person kind of stays. With a poacher, the person always kind of gets in behind. I really personally like that. I like that the most because then you have two different types of movement as opposed to two static movements. You've got one dynamic and one that's much more dynamic and one's a bit more static. Now, don't want to make this into a long video, so that's why I'm going quick as I can. But the build-up style counter, this is so important because when you get the ball back, what happens is people like saying, oh, I like to use balance and short passing. Well, that's fine. But the problem with short passing is when you have the ball, let's say with your right centre back, these players, they don't make runs going forward. You want those players to be making runs going forward. So what counter says to the game is, it's kind of like long ball last year saying, okay, when I win the ball back, I want you guys to start making those runs going forward and get into those forward positions. That is the whole idea behind counter. So you ideally want this to be on counter. Then on the defensive approach, now this is where things get sticky, okay? If you're a high skill player, Division 3 and above, I'd probably say you can go ahead and use something like high, okay? The difference I would say is, it's better off starting passive. Now, why do I always say start off passive? It's because not everyone is the same. I can give this tactic to someone in rank 1. They're still going to get rank 1. And give this tactic to someone in Division 3. They're probably still going to get maybe stay in Division 3 or maybe they'll get a few more wins because it will help them. But if I give this to a Division 5 player and you're sitting here and watching this as a Division 5 player, you got to take into account not things that work for you won't work for everyone else. So I would recommend more of a passive style. I think 55 is a good balance. Don't forget, you still have that one CDM. So you're not left to your own devices. You still have your one CDM. The only weakness with this formation is that when you lose the ball, is that you can get countered. And that's where you have to be careful. And that's where I would say the top tier players are more used to getting in position quicker. So if you're not one of those players, you got to bear that in mind. And that is why I say if you increase the depth to a much higher level, your team's going to be pressing. And what happens is sometimes I like to say is overpressing. Players are overpress. And then when you get exposed, people run out with their CDM and they say, oh, the tactics are not working for me. Well, of course, if you don't know how to play the game, you don't know how to defend, nothing's going to work for you. So that is why I'd recommend more of a passive style system. You will know yourself if you want to increase the depth, but the most important thing is counter. The only vulnerabilities are, for example, let's say you lose the ball, and let's say, for example, you're in a final third, you'll see your CDMs push up, your centre backs also push up. And don't forget, in terms of your centre backs, let's say you have the ball in your opposition's half, they'll push up like so. And your right back will be about here, and your wing back will be back here. So this would be the only place where you'll potentially lose the ball and get countered. So the only real weaknesses you have really is in the vicinity on the wide vicinities on the right-hand side. So anywhere in this vicinity over here is going to be the weakness. So you need to make sure that you have your center mid ready to neutralize that position. And that is why I talked about, for example, using a player there that I said I'll talk about tomorrow that has the ability to go. Now, I like personally here, forget this half winger, put them on holding. Get someone here that's pacey on the ball. Someone that's quick. Because the idea is you lose the ball, bam, you can run back. Let's say your right back is doing 1-2s with your strike and that right back is committed forward. You know here, your centre back here, your right centre mid is going to run back. And that is why equally, you want your entire back three to have pace. No 80 sprint speed. Ideally, on the wider players here, I would say minimum 90 sprint speed. Because when the ball goes into these areas, you want a player that's quick enough to be able to run and cover that area. So you want to be able to neutralize that situation with that player. So that is why I would say use a fast player here, here, and here. The middle center back, you can get away with someone that's a bit more slower, that's a bit more passive. But I would still say, I'll be honest, minimum 85 sprint speed, no 80 sprint speed, minimum 85 sprint speed without chemistry styles, CDM, I would still recommend someone that's quick here because the CDM can cover. So let's say, for example, God knows what reason, I don't know, your center back is out of position, your center mid's gone forward, you're on a 1-2. At least you got a CDM there to run back because most people, what they're playing, what are most people playing right now? We know they're playing some sort of a 4-4-2, or something of that nature. So we know that is basically going to be here realistically a 4-on-4. So let's say you're right back in your center mid not in the equation, it's basically going to be a 4-on-4. So that's just something to just bear in mind. But that is the code over there in case you're wondering. This is the one that I would recommend. It's Alpha, and capital Zulu, capital Echo, Romeo, capital Victor, capital Yankee, capital Golf, capital Kilo, capital Delta, and Golf. So that's a tactic that I would recommend. We'll go tomorrow. Check out tomorrow's video. We'll go for a full setup for tomorrow's video where I'll go over this in detail. And guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy. And like I said next time, don't forget to check out tomorrow's video. Don't forget if you want to get better FC, come to my Patreon. So it's patreon.com/NoGuys. Links down below in the description. If you don't get after 1 month, we'll refund your money. So no guys guarantee. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace.